Hi guys, it's going to take a few minutes to come on. My thing's a bit out of alignment. This stand is a bit, there we go. Okay, all right, so we're going to be talking about trust today. An old colleague and friend of mine, Tim, brought this up. Some of you may have seen the post. So this is really taking us into our co-creative consciousness where trust has been taken away from us. So this has come through the ages where our religious programming, you know, the politicians and religious programming have really done their job well, where they've created inadequacy around the soul, where we've been told to chase perfection through a conscious, programmed, conditioned mind. And we've lost the trust in following our feelings and intuition, and many times we step over those our own belief systems, our internal belief systems, because of societal structure, and this is the way to do it. Now this has all been designed to bring us out of our consciousness for a couple of reasons. Yes, there's a dark intent, as we all know, but it's also because we had to disconnect from ourselves and learn to trust again, learn to come back into a collective consciousness on a macro and micro level, as humanity, as our individual sovereign selves, and also reconnecting with the universe and the planets and civilizations. So this manipulation has been going on for a long time. The last time it was really in power was the fall of Atlantis, which is about 14,000 years ago. And we've gone through this cycle many times, and a lot of the ancient tribal cultures, and I think there's still cultures now that talk about it, and they talk about there was a great fire, there was a great flood, there was a great catastrophe or meteorite. Now these can be metaphors, but they can also be truths, and I've come to understand in truth that, you know, there was a great flood, and this is basically when we've been challenged, when we've got to a point where the light and dark cycles constantly fluctuate. Okay, so we were pushed back into a dark cycle back then, so pushed back into the Stone Age, because we were flying around in advanced technology then. We have a spacecraft, we were working with crystal energy, interactions with light beings, we can move out of our bodies. It was highly advanced. So we went back to the Stone Age, and we're just coming back to that point now. But this time, obviously, the light intent will take over. We're not going to fall back into our ways, because a lot of the old Atlanteans are now reincarnating. And when they lost their trust in the light, and this is what's actually happened. So now we are moving back into trusting our souls, ourselves, but trusting the feminine energy. Because the last 13,000 years has been a male energy cycle, it's been the intellect, and this is what's driven us. And yes, it has taken us out of the depths of despair, you know, and man building, creating has really enhanced our lives. If you think only 150 years ago, we were still pretty much running around in, you know, very archaic society, really, just even in medicine and tools and equipment. So this trust that they're talking about now is the merging of your physical extension, your human self, with your soul self. Okay, and then once that comes into alignment, you're going to start creating this pyramid. So you're grounding consciousness back down into the Earth Star chakra. Okay, this gives you a healthy foundation to resonate to a new frequency. Then when you go through the lower four chakras, you activate all the denied hidden emotion there, and all the traumas that we've created in third density living. And then when we come in, and everyone is starting to move into the solar plexus chakra now, which is where the soul sits. Now that's the last chakra before we come into the collective heart chakra. Now the collective heart chakra is the oneness with our soul. Okay, now there's many aspects to that, but just to keep it simple, what we're talking about. So once we move through the solar plexus, where the soul sits, when we can trust the soul, because it's the denial wound that sits in the solar plexus, and it's denial of a soul body, denial that we are more than physical. It's denying the inadequacy we feel as human beings. And it's that inadequacy that has created the numbing effect in most people, creating a sort of paralysis, a disconnect, making people feel powerless. But it's also creating narcissism in others. Okay, now the final hurdle to move through is self-betrayal, because self-betrayal is actually kept polarized by inadequacy in the human being. Now, betrayal also sits in the heart center as well. So once we start to open and work from the heart, inadequacy will turn into humility. Now, when we're humble, we are able to receive, and consciousness is subtle, so consciousness can weave through the humble with no resistance. Okay, and this creates a grounding of consciousness back into the body. Okay, so but we have to work on these lower four chakras. So trust really is about surrendering, because we're not in the time of in the head anymore. The time of the head is over. The time of the mind, time of thinking is over. It's the time of the heart and feelings. So we have to have a transitional period, but we can only have that period if we surrender to it. Now, we're already seeing with the corona that on a co-creative consciousness, it's starting to unplug us. And there's many companies, there's lots of people talking about how we're going to be working from home now, at least reduced. We're not going to be plugged into that 9 to 5 model, which was created to keep us disempowered, to keep us out of ourselves, to keep us fatigued, so we can't come into our own feelings and alignment. And you talk to anyone in the city and they're all completely worn out, and they've all had enough. Even the commute to work is just done. And everyone knows this now. So everything had to change, and this interception, or shall we say, or by the universe, has been very gentle, very subtle, and it's that blessing that we need to hold now. So the final hurdle, like I said, on any transformation, any spiritual path, whether it be, doesn't matter what you do, the last thing you'll always come to is trust, because trust is the final hurdle. Trust is surrendering to the feminine, and I've spoken about this before. But the male energy has belief systems that to surrender to the feminine is to be disempowered, is to be weak, that they will be let down, and whatever excuses the energy's been created and belief systems have been created. But this is sewn in, and it's even sewn into females living in female bodies now, because it's a duality of energies. So really, the trust vibration is about just surrendering. So you can't really go out and learn it. It's just about surrendering. And this message that I've channeled, which I'm about to read, will really give you a bit more of an in-depth simplifies it really. And I'm going to share some techniques as well, and I'm going to send some stuff on here, which is connect to the soul exercise that will really help. And if you practice that in the mornings, it will give you. Well, we're going to do it live as well today, but it will start to give you a sense of energy around you, because when you start to feel these waves around you on a day-to-day basis, and then you, for example, you've got a problem that day and you can't really work it out, when we're getting stuck in our heads and these problems, they escalate and it gets confusing, we get stressed, more adrenaline, we're running more fire energy. But if you bring in that female counterpart and you're drinking water, those problems that you have each day, you could just give it to the soul and you say, you sort it out. You've got the bird's eye view. You can see what's going on. And I've seen it 1,000 times. I've done it 1,000 times. It's simple, but you have to. This is the point where you have to trust that. But once you can start to feel it, it gives you a somatic experience. Now, when we have a somatic experience, it's tangible, it's tactile. So yes, okay, I can start believing that, even if the fickle ego mind is saying no, that's not real. But at least you've had that experience of feeling something. So then it's your choice to either follow that path, or you can keep denying it through negative thinking all the time. So really you have to take sovereignty over your thoughts really, and just say, hey, today I'm not going to listen to you, but thank you, because you can't get rid of the mind, okay? Its gift is imagination. So you have to start using imagination. Now, when you can imagine something, and when there's no doubt, not 1 ounce of doubt, if you imagine something, by universal law, it has to magnetize. It has to physically crystallize, because the intent is there, and that's how everything works, okay? So I'm going to read this message off now, and then I'll talk a little bit more at the beginning, at the end, and then we'll go from there. So again, this is from the Viridians, the guys that I work with. Okay, this is a channeled message for trust. Firstly, we come as guidance to humanity. Our mission is to bring a feeling of love first, and then once that is felt, the trust that already exists within you will flourish naturally. So like all of this work, it's not something you have to obtain, but in fact surrender to. The entire universe and all your memories since you were created live within your cells, live within your soul. Now the question of how. You must be still. Only in stillness can you experience a deeper connection to the energy field around you, which first needs to be felt. You must have this experience to start the process. Because when your programmed conscious mind experiences something outside of itself, it brings excitement through activating the innate inquisitiveness the human being naturally embodies. Your minds are in so much fear that to trust has been taken from you a long time ago through misinformation and splitting your duality into the primordial concepts such as dark and light, good and bad. When you see these aspects as separate from one another, you split your consciousness. And when you do that, you are not in alignment with spirit or your soul. So you can become easily manipulated and controlled. And if you don't have alignment to unconditional love, you lose your trust. Your trust in spirit, in the Creator, your loved ones, and humanity as a whole. This puts you in survival mode. Then the ego takes over. Fickle in nature, it leads you all over the place, and you hang on to those leaders that pretend they know what's best for you, or the planet. And here we go again, following false paths and leaders to show you the way, to lead you to glory. They prophesize this to the end of the world that they know best. This is how propaganda works, and the manipulation of emotional energy. Because when you are misaligned with truth, you trust those that stand out or speak and look in a certain way. Now, this is all designed, and that design is to keep you in servitude, away from your own unique ability to bring through your own truths. And so by trusting becomes an outward activity instead of an inward reality. People speak about moving into 5D, ascending here and there, but you cannot go anywhere until you have processed 3D. And many people in the New Age movement forget this very important aspect of their consciousness. You cannot deny or push away what you have created in 3D through the many lives of unresolved trauma, beliefs, and misalignment. You cannot look for the quick fix. You have to go into your emotional bodies and ground consciousness back into the body. You are already existing in many realms and planes of consciousness because we are all multidimensional beings. So you are already living everywhere. So why do you need to ascend there? This is where misinformation has been spread through your New Age movement, and some of it has been deliberately planted there to confuse and misalign those that are remembering their sovereignty, remembering the truth. Work on your shadow selves. Work with your emotional bodies. When you do that, you will start to align with your truth, and this will bring an automatic trust into your feelings. The synchronicities will heighten, and you will naturally intuit what is right, and you will feel us around you. Moreover, your soul presence. The base chakra activation is a good start because within the feminine there comes trust. You must trust you will receive exactly what you need at the right time. And that is how the soul works. It provides all that you need in the present moment. Invoke the feminine energy. Do the soul connection exercise. When fear and worry set in, acknowledge with love, and divine current will start to move through you and transmute all that needs transforming. We are here in loving service to you all. So this really is about the surrender process. Like I said, it's not about going out striving and struggling. I need to obtain everything, because everything is already contained within you. So this is where human beings get pulled out. And the Spirit has said very clearly, we do not need another full set of rules and procedures. And I think I said that last week, because humanity is already in overload. They need simplicity, they need to feel it works straight away, and they need to have a tactile somatic experience. So these types of exercises that we're giving you will start to feel things, but you need to keep practicing them because you need to start trusting. Because even if you trust on a conscious level, you've got sabotaging subconscious belief systems from all lives. And you've got a lot of multidimensional energy starting to come in now because everything's opening. So you're going to start having weirder dreams, you're going to feel different pains in the bodies, you're going to have different thoughts, different feelings, and you're not going to understand them unless you are connected into the soul. Because this is why it's happened before. People have gone mad when they've opened up this consciousness before without the energy supporting them around them, okay? So, you know, if you know that everything's already within you, isn't that better than having to think you have to go out and create it, struggle, strive, spend 6 months meditating, doing all this, doing all that, whatever it is? If you know you just need to surrender, and through some very simple techniques, that surrender process becomes very easy, and then you just start to let go naturally. So this is the time when you can just sit back and just relax, but you need to be conscious, you need to be plugged into it every day, but it doesn't have to be a mental effort. In fact, they want us to come out of our minds, and they only want you to use your mind as a gift of imagination, okay? Because only when you imagine something can you create it, you know. And even when, people are meditating, they say, well, I can't visualize, I can't stay still, I can't focus, the mind's running off doing this, doing that. Yes, it does. But if you give the mind an imagination to do, a story of imagination, like you're imagining you're seeing a being of light, then that being of light is naturally going to come straight into you, because it's the imagination that opens up the doorway. And this is where people have got confused before, because they sit there meditating, breathing, but their minds wander. Now, if you give the mind something to do through imagination, then co-creatively you're going to bring that into your consciousness. It's universal law. There is no denying that. So the soul experience, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send this to you as an abbreviated copy, and I've got a video as well, just a short one, because it's got a lot of good information on there, little tools and tips you can use each day, and actually talks you through it. What we're going to do is we're going to do it now anyway. So just want everyone just to get a sense. It's just going to be a couple of minutes just to get a sense of that feeling around them, okay? And especially when we're doing live videos as well. But even if you watch it back later, it'll still happen because you know you're invoking it. It's always nice to do it live too. So if you just close your eyes, I'm just going to give everyone 30 seconds just to make sure that everything's quiet and they can get involved and get connected into this. So I'm just going to do some breathing now for myself. So you want to take 3 deep breaths, and on the 3rd breath out, mentally say, be here now. Be here now. Then you say mentally, I now surrender to my soul's purpose. I now give permission to my soul to provide me with whatever I need. I surrender my ego mind. I now wish to feel the presence of my soul, to feel the weightlessness of my physical body. And just use your imagination now to feel these waves of light and energy around your body, because in truth you are in your soul, it's all around you. Because we are a hologram. This physical universe is a hologram, it's a projection of a thread of consciousness that we're all connected into. And that is our own spirit form. That is having multidimensional experiences of itself on many planes and dimensions and densities of consciousness. To ask to feel that weightlessness, that only through stillness and deep breathing can you let the magnetic mental field calm itself, so you can actually start to feel the energy washing around you. If you can't feel it, command it from your soul. Demand that you feel it. let me tell you, Spirit are not messing around anymore. They're here, and they're going to be turning up physically soon, because they need humanity to wake up, because they need to get the planet in alignment, and they need everyone to start taking sovereignty over their own beings and the planet. And we all, in our soul contracts, are aware of this time, of this awakening period. So we've all agreed to come into alignment with this. And this is where you can ask your soul questions like, what do you need from me today? Or if you've got a problem, you can ask, can you help me with this? I need clarity. Or I've got a difficult person to work with, can you help me sort this out? Whatever it is. You can ask stuff on the day-to-day level or the deeper level. Many people are struggling with their purpose, but only surrender to the soul will you find your purpose. You won't find it through your mind anymore. Just trying to create through your mind is probably going to lead you into more confusion and doubt and despair. This is the feminine. The soul is the feminine, the nurturer, the carer, the protector. She is the bird in the sky. She can see past, present, future, laterally, multidimensionally. So, of course, logically, it makes sense to give the driver's seat over to the soul, does it not? And this is a time just to be still. And you can use this energy to push into any stiffness or ailments and just ask it to transmute and breathe through it. Because whenever you're soul present, you are able to move consciousness through the body and start healing yourselves. But also be aware that if you're feeling pain in the body, you need to talk to it and say, why are you there? Start getting inquisitive about your aches and pains, because they are messengers, they are gifts, and they are either emotional or mental blockages or traumas. And you will start to open up to more of your creative side. You will come back into your nurturing inner child selves. You will let go of the rigidity that we have created. And remember to come back and start being more childlike. And letting that joy, spontaneity, the one that trusts, the one that takes chances. That's the inner child. So this is a good start. I'll be sharing some more stuff next week. I'm going to send you the activation, the soul connection exercise. There's also an abbreviated copy that I'll send as well. But just at least watch the video once, because I think there's a few tips and tools on there that's good to help with day-to-day stuff as well. And also takes you through the process. All right, guys, I hope you found that informative, and I will see you all next week, probably Monday or Tuesday. All right, all the best. Thank you.